How's everyone doing? All right, if this is the first time you've been to one of my talks, I'm gonna need a little more energy out of you. So I'm gonna try that one more time. How are you guys doing today? Thank you. I know it's the last session, which is lucky because that means there's less people here, which means there are less people who are gonna take the information that I'm gonna give today and go use it. So you guys are gonna have a competitive advantage by the end of this talk on everyone else in this conference. So she's kind of already told you, but I'm gonna talk to you today about how we sell $35 million per month in info products with 3 strategies you've never heard of. So here's kind of how I'm gonna do the presentation. I only have 30 minutes, so I might move kind of fast so we can have some time for questions at the end. But first half, I'm basically gonna walk you through just like the basic fundamentals of a VSL, a webinar, and a challenge. Those are like the main ways that we sell online. I'm sure you guys are using one of those 3 ways. And if you are, or if you're not, you should definitely take some notes. And then in the second half, I'm gonna walk you through kind of the 3 hidden strategies that we use that are gonna help you have a lift in your business today. If you go implement them today, you're gonna make millions of dollars more than you were making before. So let's jump right in. Let's talk first about a VSL. Can you raise your hand if you're using a VSL in your business? Okay, less people than I thought. Cool, so I'm gonna breeze through these, but basically VSL is a 7 to 20 minute video purposely made to sell a product or opportunity at the end, right? So I like to think about it as like a damn good YouTube video that's on a page that people are opting in for from an ad to go watch. This is kind of what our flow looks like. So we're gonna basically send people from an ad to an opt-in on the page. They're gonna watch the video, and then there's gonna be a timed application that's gonna show up. So if it's like a 20-minute video and 12 minutes in, I'm talking about the thing that we're selling, that's when I'm gonna let the button pop up for them to apply, just so I'm not wasting my sales team's time. And if they pass the application, they're gonna go to a sales call. So cool part about this is it's always pre-recorded, it's always evergreen. You don't have to like show up live for this. You film this one time in a studio, just like a YouTube video, and you just pay money to send traffic to it over and over again. And your sales team gets a lot of book calls and you close. So that's number 1. Again, I'm gonna breeze through these because I think this is not the important part of my presentation. I think it's the back half of it, right? Number 2 is a webinar. Can you raise your hand if you use a webinar in your business right now? More people than the VSL, I like that. Okay, cool. So 1 to 3 hour video. I know someone was presenting earlier today and I was in a talk and they said, I do 25-minute webinars. I disagree. I think if your webinar is less than an hour and a half, you're missing out on a ton of money. I've taken webinars that we have that are like an hour long and I've made them an hour 45 minutes with the same exact content, and we've doubled the close rates of these webinars. So just think about it logically. The more time someone spends with you, the more money they're willing to pay you, right? The more trust you have. So on a VSL, for example, it's only, let's say 15 to 20 minutes, and that's why we have to send them to a sales team, right? Because I haven't spent enough time with them to build trust to be able to sell them myself. So I have to get them on a call with someone else who then has to spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes on a phone call to sell them. On a webinar, I'm spending an hour and a half to sometimes 3 hours. We have a webinar we're running right now that's 3.5, 4 hours long. The more time I have with them, the more they're sitting in the chair, not listening to anything except me talking to them the whole time, the more I earn their trust, the more money I can ask them for at the end. So that's why I love webinars so much. The cool part is it can be on demand. So it can be something that's pre-recorded that they just opt in for and they watch. It could be live. It could be pre-recorded at a set time. So I'll give you some kind of cool strategies that we do on the webinar side. Up till like last year, I'd say a lot of people ran on-demand webinars, which is like, I go, I opt in, and then I get to pick like, I want to watch it immediately, or I want to watch it in 4 hours, or I want to watch it in 6 hours. We kind of give them times, right? Recently, we switched to a model that's different. So we'll actually run a pre-recorded webinar once a week and tell everyone all week that this thing's happening on Saturday at noon, for example, right? And so we're building up all this excitement throughout the week. And so they're planning, they're putting it on their calendar, they're telling their wives, hey, you're watching the kids for these 2 hours, and they're eliminating all their distractions leading up to it. So we may not have as many people show as people who just click a button and watch it live every time, but we have way more people who are watching through all the way because they don't have all these distractions pulling them apart, right? So we have higher conversion rates on the webinar. Another thing you can do is just do like a daily webinar at a set time too, right? So for example, every day at 8 p.m. Eastern, this is when we're gonna run it. So you're running ads on a 24-hour cycle. People are showing up to this pre-recorded webinar, and they're watching it all at the same time. So they still have that time to do the same exact thing that you do if you do it on Saturday. So I would challenge you, if you're doing some sort of pre-recorded on-demand style, to switch it up to like a set time, whether it's daily or weekly, and you'll see your conversion rates jump pretty quickly. Sorry about the formatting. You're gonna find a few slides that look like this, but it's all good. So just for those that don't run webinars, this is kind of just a high-level framework. Intro, I'm gonna talk about what we're gonna go over today. I'm gonna tell my story. I'm gonna go into the content, which is why you showed up in the first place to learn. Then we're gonna transition, then we're gonna pitch. So here's a screenshot just so you can kind of understand how lucrative this model is. This is over a period of, I wanna say like 8 to 9 months. You can see about $25 million of revenue on this webinar. You can see the total return on ad spend on the right is 4.66. Can anyone guess how many times we went live? 0. Close, 1 time. So we went live 1 time, and we thought it was such a good take that we took this take and we ran it every single week. So we just said every single week on Saturday at noon, we have this free training. Here's what we're focused on. And every single week we spent maybe about $100,000 to $150,000 of traffic sending them to this webinar. And at the end of the webinar, we pitch and we collect a few $100,000 of revenue. And then over the next few days, I'll walk you through this if you want to take a picture. You're probably going to want to zoom in later. But what we did was over the next few days, we took people through like a replay sequence. So I'll give you an example. We might spend $150,000, and then on Saturday when the webinar ends, we'll make $300,000. And we'll say, great, we got a 2x return on ad spend. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all those people that didn't show up, right? All the 70% of people that didn't show up, and I'm gonna squeeze them out for the next 5 to 6 days and tell them, hey, I've taken the replay, it's gonna expire. This is the last chance for you to watch it. Here's another chance to get in on the action, right? You already registered, you're interested in learning this subject, don't miss out on it. I'm gonna pull this replay down in a few days. Then we double our revenue over the next 4 days. So if I collected $300,000 on Saturday, by the time Wednesday comes around, I've collected $600,000 from the same $150K that I've spent. And the cool part is, I didn't do anything. I didn't have to show up on a video, no one had to pitch anything. This is a pre-recorded sequence that's set. And the cool part is every single week I can run it over and over and over again. So if you're not doing that, I would highly, highly recommend it. Who here is doing challenges? Nice. There's like 15 people in this room. So, like I told you guys, the more time we spend with someone, the more we can ask them to spend with us, right? The more trust we're gonna have, the higher the ticket value. So, challenges are basically like multi-day webinars, if you wanna think about it in an easy way. So I'm gonna take someone and instead of telling them, hey, I want you to come on Saturday for an hour, I'm gonna say, Monday through Wednesday, we're gonna achieve this outcome. And it's gonna be a 3-day thing, we're gonna do it 1 hour per day, and you're gonna block this time off, just like a class, a course of some sort, and we're gonna achieve an outcome, right? Basically what's gonna happen here that's important in your challenge is 1, you need to give the participant an end outcome. It's called a challenge for a reason, okay? Webinars are called free trainings, right? Because you go and you just wanna learn a few things. Challenges are called challenges because you're gonna enter the challenge and you're gonna leave with a specific outcome that you can do. So, example, if I'm in a real estate coaching program, by the end of my 3-day challenge, you're gonna be able to go find your first deal and be able to go lock it in. I'm not saying that you're gonna be able to go and flip a house, but I'm saying by the end of this 3 days, you're gonna know what's a good deal, where to find it, and how to go do it yourself so you can get there. And if I can, the goal here, just so you know in my brain when I'm structuring these, which I think this is the best sales tool in the internet marketing space right now, when I structure these, my goal is that third thing right there, which is get the person to believe it's probable, not possible, okay? For all of you guys that are in this room, you have to understand there's a reason you're paying for this conference, you're coming, you understand people make a ton of money doing crazy shit, right? I have people like selling sex toys in this conference making stupid amounts of money, right? Most humans, the people, average consumer that you're selling to, does not believe any of this shit. They do not believe that they can make 6 figures a year. They do not believe these things. They know other people can do it. They know it's possible, right? Because other people are doing it. They see other people making money. They see other people driving Lamborghinis. They see people buying big houses. They know it's possible, but they do not think it's probable for them. It's a very different psychology here. And so we, as marketers, as business owners who are advertising online, forget this, and we focus so much of our effort on how do we just show them that it's possible. They already know it's fucking possible, guys. We wanna show them it's probable. And that's why I love the challenge, because if I can spend 3 days with someone and I can get them over the biggest hump to them, which is is it probable? Like, if I actually do this, do I have a chance at making the money? Then I've done a great job. So I'll give you an example, like an Amazon offer, right? We have people that sell Amazon offers. If I go and do a webinar and I tell them, here's, you're gonna set up an Amazon account, and you can sell other people's products and all this stuff, great. They're gonna leave, and they're not gonna buy because their objection in their head is, man, setting up an Amazon account is gonna be hard. Finding a product, that's still gonna be hard. That's gonna take me a lot of time. It's the same reason that they still are where they are, right? But if I do a 3-day challenge, and on day 1, I'm showing them how to set up an Amazon account, and then they go and do that for homework. And then day 2, they come with an Amazon account set up. And then I show them, here's how I find winning products. And then now they're going and they're finding winning products. And then day 3, they come to the end of the challenge and they've made an Amazon account, they found a winning product. Now I need to teach them how to go and make money doing those 2 things. So now I can sell them my program because they've already made so much progress that they think it's probable that they're gonna be able to do it. They've already crushed all the objectives, right? It'd be like going to the gym, working out for a week, you start seeing a little abs, you're like, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna sign up for the year membership now because I've already made that progress, I believe I can do it, right? Versus just showing up for a day trial and leaving and being like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, it's kinda hard, right? It's the same psychology. And that's why I love challenges so much. So this is kind of our challenge structure, just to keep it super short, very simple. It's just a 3-day webinar, right? So this is like, in this case, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're gonna do 1 hour every single day. We're gonna cover an objective every day, and it's important, something I said on the last slide, which was, I need them to make a micro commitment every day. So you need to give them homework, and it's not like an hour of homework, it's like 5 minutes. It's like, for example, I need you guys right now on this call to make a vision board. Where do you wanna be? Like based on your bills and your expenses, like how much money do we need to make? Let's backwards engineer, how many sales do we need to make? And start getting them to start thinking and making these micro commitments every single day. Whether it's homework, go set up an Amazon account, and here's the checklist how, or in real estate, I need you to go bring me 5 deals that you think are good based on what we talked about today. The more we can get micro commitments from these people, the more now they believe, if I tell them to do something and they go do it, that means they're making progress. And so by the end of it, when I tell them, you need to come invest in this program so we can make more progress, they're gonna have that trust in me in making those commitments. They're gonna already be used to saying yes day after day. And something I do really cool here is on the 3rd day of the challenge, basically what I do to create pressure, and I know a lot of people are talking like FTC stuff, like what's compliant, what's not, like, just so you guys know, in the FTC world, it's not compliant to make fake claims of like quantity. I can't say like, this is closing in an hour, or there's only 5 spots, but there's like 100, right? That's frowned upon. But what I can do to get around that, to create the same level of urgency, if not more, is hey, when this training ends, I have a private Zoom call that I'm gonna be doing with everyone who bought, and only who bought. It's gonna be a kickstart call. I'm gonna show you everything for an hour and a half. You're gonna train directly with me. I'm never gonna record this. No one's ever gonna get access to this again. Only the people who buy right now in this moment will get the Zoom link in the email, and you'll be able to jump into my Zoom call, my private Zoom, that I'm only gonna be doing with people here so that they can get their first deal done by next week, or their first whatever it is by next week. Whatever it is that you guys are selling, I'm sure you can find a way to frame that. But when I create that private VIP experience that you can only get from making a purchase in that moment, it takes away the ability to say, I'm gonna go talk to my wife after, or let me go figure out if I can actually have the funds for this. It creates that pressure of, if I don't do this in the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna miss out on this thing that's not being recorded that I will never be able to see again. So that is called real urgency. So just at a high level screenshot, here's kind of the 3 compared side by side. Again, sorry for the formatting errors here. Probably take a screenshot of this, give you a perspective, but like VSLs, you can sell anywhere from $5,000 to $40,000. Challenge, you can sell anywhere from $5,000 to $40,000. I have people who sell more than that, even on challenges. And on webinars, more of the middle price point. That being said, recently, I just wrote a webinar for a $5,000 product, and we converted this weekend at a 3.7x return out of Evergreen. So pre-recorded everything. So I would change that number. We're trying to push the boundaries here of marketing. I think you can sell a 5K offer on a webinar without a sales team. So with that being said, like I promised you guys, here are the 3 things we're doing that I think are pretty unique, that are different. Who here like is the kind of person that like doesn't like going to the movie theater or watching big movies? Like you're the guy that complains and you're like, oh man, I don't want to go to the movie theater. Like raise your hand. Are any of these people in this room? Okay, who here knows people like that? Raise your hand. Okay, cool. I'm a big movie guy, and I always like to go to the movie theaters. And my friends, for some reason, all have no fucking energy for the movies. I don't want to sit in a movie. I hate sitting in a chair for 3 hours, blah, 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 right? But these same friends will sit their ass on the couch at home and watch a 15-episode Netflix series for 15 hours straight and not get off their fucking couch. And there's an important psychological lesson there, right? And that's that it's not about the time that they spend on the couch or in the environment or however long it is. It's about how they're consuming it. Some people might want to consume 30-minute episodes, hour-long episodes, and some people might want to consume 3-hour movies, okay? And so as we started thinking about this in our business, we started realizing the more sophisticated someone is, the smaller of a frame of time that they want to consume the information, right? If I'm jobless, I have nothing better to do, I'll sit there for 5 hours and watch a movie or a training, whatever it is, right? If I'm a CEO of an 8-figure company, I have 180 employees, you bet, like if you're doing a live training or something, it better be under an hour or I'm gonna dip. I got kids screaming in the background, I got Slack blowing up, I got my CFO texting me. There's a million things going on, right? So we thought to ourselves, why don't we give them different ways to consume the same content? So what if we just took all the information on this webinar and turned it into a text page? What if we just made a page made of text, and if after a week of pushing these people to go watch a webinar, they didn't watch the webinar, why don't we just shoot a shot and just send them to a text page and see if they'll consume the entire webinar in text? Obviously, I'm not gonna write every single word I've said, right? But between really big bold headlines covering the main points, some paragraphs underneath, can I get this person to consume the webinar without actually having to sit there for 3 hours? And we were correct. And what we also found was these same people that won't consume a webinar might consume a VSL with the same exact information. So now what we're doing, and I'll show you a different way you can actually spin this, if someone goes to like a challenge, for example, which is the biggest one, right? Like a 3-day challenge, and they don't actually attend, they fall off, like it's too much for them to consume, we'll create a webinar version of that same challenge and send them from the challenge to the webinar. So if after a week goes by and this person's not watching the challenge, not watching the recording, I'm not just gonna let this customer go. I've already spent the hard-earned dollars and time to acquire this lead. So let me shoot a shot and shoot them into a webinar and see if I tell them, hey, listen, instead of 3 days, I've condensed this into an hour and a half that you can watch in one sitting and you can get the same exact information. And then what if after that, if that doesn't work, I take him to a 25-minute video and I say, hey dude, listen, I've condensed this again into a 25-minute video. What percentage of people could we then get to watch that? And over time, as we started dwindling down the way that they consumed it, we noticed every time more people would watch and more people would watch and more people would consume because they need to consume it differently. And so I'm not telling you right out the gate, build 4 funnels for the same thing, right? But if you have a good challenge or if you have a good webinar that you crack that's doing well and making money, I challenge you to double down on the different ways to create that information and have the person on the other end consume it. And something really cool we're doing a lot in a lot of our VSL funnels is, actually by show of hands, who here thinks they can sell their product better than their sales team? Raise your hand. Come on, guys. Come on. You guys don't think you can sell your own product better than your sales team? It's embarrassing. For those of you that are intelligent enough to raise your hand, for people that are going to a VSL, what we're noticing is we'll send people to a VSL, they'll go to a sales call, and our sales team won't close them. Or they'll go to the VSL, they won't show up for a sales call. Or they'll put their lead in and then they won't book the sales call. And we're getting so much waste of traffic that we're spending to take people to the VSL to book with the sales team. So what we do at the end of the month is like a cleanup webinar. We'll take all these people that didn't close, didn't show up, whatever, and we'll push them into a webinar with the main persona. So if like I'm the dude who's in the VSL videos, I'm the dude in the marketing, I'm gonna push everyone to a webinar with me live at the end of the month. And I'm gonna incentivize my sales team, let's call it with half commission, example. If you push your people to my webinar at the end of the month and I close them, I'll split commission with you. These are people that you don't think you're gonna close. These are people who probably wanna talk to me directly, but I don't have the time to sit there and get on individual sales calls. And if I can just do a webinar at the end of the month, how much more money could we make? And so, can't say names, but we have an offer that we're working with that they do a VSL funnel. They do about $3.5–4 million a month through a VSL funnel to a sales team. At the end of the month, they'll do a webinar with all the leads that didn't close, and they'll close an extra 600K in one day at the end of the month. Just because this dude got on for an hour. It's not even an hour, it's like 45 minutes. These people are already warm, and he's pitching directly himself. Instead of letting his sales team do it, he's covering objections, but he doesn't have the time to do it one-on-one with everyone. So if I can just put everyone in a group and close them all together, I can clean up and make so much more money. So number two, this is something cool. We call it internally as the highlight checkout method. So basically what it is we started realizing like there's people who are gonna get on the webinar and all these challenges and things, and they're gonna buy on the spot, right? That information is fresh. They've already covered their objections. They've created objections in their head, and then either the speaker solved them, they've been solved in the chat, whatever it is. They've overcome them, and they're making that purchase. But for all the people that we are gonna send emails to and text messages to try to get them to come back and make a purchase, how do we refresh that information? Because then those objections start coming back, right? That's the reason they didn't buy in the first place. They said, oh, I don't believe I can do it. And then as every day went on, they started thinking, oh, I didn't believe I can do it. Or I think this thing is gonna cost me a lot of money. That's a huge objection. After I pay for the course, how much money do I have to invest? And then they get in their head, and every day that goes by, that objection becomes stronger and stronger and stronger because they're further away from the sales pitch. And so what we do is we call it a highlight checkout. We basically say, if we can't have a sales team sell them, why don't we get the person who was doing the presentation to cover all the biggest objections and kind of refresh on the information about the program on the actual sales page. So how much is it gonna hurt us if someone 3-4 days later who didn't buy from us comes back to a sales page and we have a highlight checkout, meaning there's a video at the top of the sales page covering all the FAQs, all the things that are objections for these people. How much can we increase our sales rate? And the cool part is right underneath it, you can kind of see, I gave you kind of a sample because I couldn't show client pages specifically, but we'll hyperlink all the main FAQs and objections to the video. So someone can just click like, how much money is this gonna cost me after I pay for the course? They click that, it forwards in the video to that objection, and then the person's actually covering the objection, right? So now instead of just having them sit there on the sales page, scratch their head, and then convince their way out of it, we're giving them all the objections that we know people are gonna have for this program, where they can just go through them one at a time, or they can just watch the video as a whole, and we can increase our close rate, right? Back to the psychology of, I can close better than my sales team, because it's my product. I know everything about it. I know what my students like. I know what their problems are. So if I can put it all in one video, and I can reclose them myself on this sales page, I can convert so many more people than just sending them straight to a checkout, ClickFunnels page. So, number 3, which is, I think to me, one of our biggest secrets, we're rolling this across the board now to our clients on all e-commerce and info products. We're big on email opt-ins. I got Michael Tipper over here. He's from our info team too. Flew in all the way from UK. Leads our entire copywriting team on the info side. I was like, this guy's making us so much money. How do I just feed him more people to sell, right? And so how do we get more emails and increase our retargeting effectiveness across the board? And so just for reference, this is kind of what a normal funnel would look like, right? We'll do traffic, we'll spend 6 figures of ads, let's say. We'll run them to a landing page. People will make a purchase, go to the thank you page, and then people will abandon, right? And then what do we have to do with those abandoned visitors? I have to then pull my credit card out again and go, Facebook, please, 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 please. Go find them, please, please. Get them back here, Facebook, please. I know they want to buy. And then I'll take my wallet out again, and I'll ask Facebook, I'll beg Mark Zuckerberg on my knees, please find these people for me. And then hopefully, those people come back to my website and they make a purchase. But the reason I'm doing that is because I don't own their information. If they gave me their email, if they gave me their phone number, I wouldn't have to sit and be at the mercy of Mark Zuckerberg the whole time. So we searched and we tried to find a way that we could do so. And so there's a software called OpenSend. There's a lot of software similar, but we searched and this was by far the most superior. I'll tell you why. And you don't even need to write it down at the end. I'll give you guys a 30-day free trial for it. You guys can use it. I think you can only get like 14 days on the website. I talked to the CEO. We got 30 days for you guys. So you can go test it on your own. But basically what it does is it takes all the anonymous visitors on the website that came in that we don't have on our email list. It scrapes their information. I mean, I'm telling you, I know everything about them. Where they live, the websites they visit, the zip, like, I mean, everything. Their age, their birthday, like their shopping habits. I know everything because of the data. But all I really want is their email, right? And the cool part is we're able to filter based on activity. So for example, the more high ticket a product, the bigger I want to raise the filter. So for example, if I'm selling a $5 product, I don't care. If you spend 20 seconds on my website, I want your email. I'll send you an email, you'll probably buy it, it's $5. If I'm selling a $5,000 course, maybe I want you to at least spend a minute on my website. And so it's cool because we're able to adjust these filters based on the product lines. So the higher ticket, the higher the filter we want to put. And so what's happening is all these people that were spending money on traffic to send to our website that are just leaving, that we then have to spend more money for, we're able to actually just capture their emails. And it's cool because I'll show you this dashboard and I'll show you some objections we had. We did like 2 months of legal digging in our company to figure out like, is this legal, number one? Number two, how the fuck is it legal? And you'll see why. Like these are numbers from like a month of using the software. This is a 4-week period on an account. $500,000 of recovered revenue. At the top, 84,000 email contact profiles created. On the bottom, you can see 54% open rates. Most of you guys don't even get that to your warm list. 11.8% click rates. None of you get that to your cold list. Okay? So this stuff works. So number one, how is this even legal? So we dug in, it's pretty cool how it works. Basically all these companies online have like a shared opt-in network in a way, right? So if you go and you opted into like New York Times, New York Times has the rights to share that opt-in with someone else. They can sell it. So they can go to someone else and say, hey, I want to charge you 16 cents, and then you can have Eddie Malouf's information, and we will tell Gmail, just to summarize this in a non-tech way, we'll tell his Gmail inbox that all the reputation we've built, you have as well. So you're going to deliver into his inbox. Gmail's going to read that email and be like, oh, Eddie gets emails from these guys previously. Eddie likes this, and so we're going to deliver it to Eddie's inbox instead of putting it in spam. And in the United States, this is legal. If you guys are international, you're selling in international markets, I'm sorry, no. But if you're here in America, because we got guns and all that other shit, we also got this, right? And so, number two, how are open rates so high? Like I was telling you guys, we create filters, right? So I can put how many pages they visit. I can exclude states. I can include only certain zip codes. And so the higher the filter, the higher the open rate, right? If someone spends 2 minutes on my website, they're gonna open the email. If someone spends 5 seconds on my website, they're gonna be like, who is this guy and why is he in my inbox? And number three, why isn't everybody using it? It's probably because we all think it's fucking illegal as well. So with that being said, I'll give you guys one last bonus tip. This is one I've been sharing a lot the last year on some stages. I just think it's one that so many people can make money on, specifically in the info product space. I don't know if it's gonna work in other spaces. Did it go? Okay, cool. So, sorry, my monitor just kind of messed up here. So on the failed payments here, so one day, here's kind of how what happened. I basically logged into Stripe, and I was like, let me look at this number. I really like looking at this number. And I opened it, and I was like, what is this little orange area in my Stripe account? And I like hovered my mouse over it, and it said failed payments. And I started looking at this chart, and I'm like, dude, I could probably increase my entire top line by 20% just in failed payments. And I looked at that spread of time, I think it was like 6 or 7 months, and $1.8 million on this account in failed payments. There's people who tried to buy. They didn't like abandon cart. They were like, take my credit card. And the machine went, no. And I'm like, there's gotta be a way to get these guys in. So what I did was we basically went and we created an automation through Zap. And we basically zapped every time a failed payment came in, that in the next like couple minutes, they didn't actually have a successful payment. It took that failed payment profile, tagged them in our email list a certain way, and added them to an automation where we sent them an automated email to get them to come back and buy, right? And so it looks something like this. This is like super clever. This is the one we did for Pace Morby. This is the one I've been kind of sharing with a lot of people. But the principle here is it must look like a forwarded email from the main person, okay? So the concept here is, in your inbox, you know when you get an email that's forwarded, it looks like a different color. It's kind of like hyperlinked underneath. This is what it looks like. So I can't really read it because it's small, but the gist of it here, if you want to take a photo, and I have a video on YouTube about this, so you can just go and actually screenshot it in bigger if you want. But the concept here is someone from the staff messages. They say, hey, Eddie, we noticed, Pace noticed, that you actually attended the training the other day. He saw your name in the audience, and then we were going through the reports this morning on Monday, and we noticed that you ended up not being able to go through. So Pace wanted me to personally reach out to you and see if there's something that I could do to help you financially to get into the program. If I need to help you with something specifically, if there's anything we can do, just please respond to me. If it was just a bank error, feel free to call your bank and then retry the checkout link. And then right under it is the forwarded email from the main guy. So whoever did the presentation, in this case it was Pace Morby, I created a fake email from Pace to the staff member, putting that person's name. So it says email from Pace, hey staff member, Eddie attended my training, and I noticed personally this morning as I was going through the reports that he wasn't able to get in because of a failed payment. Could you personally reach out to Eddie for me and make sure that he's taken care of? I want him in the program. And so this makes them feel so special because it makes them feel like the person who just presented to 10,000 people, remember their name from the audience and the questions that they're asking. It's not like he messaged them. He messaged his team and said, go talk to this person, please, I want them in the program. And now the team member is messaging them, all automated. And so now we recover so many of these failed payments. Thank you so much. Hopefully that was super helpful. Appreciate you guys.